Ted Metellus is my name, and I am the Vice President of Events and Technical Director of the TCS NYC Marathon. Recently, someone asked me if I was in charge of IT and internet connection, and thousands of volunteers that are engaged with the event spread out through the entire experience. At Roadrunners, it's truly a community, and it's a 365-day-a-year community. Cater and service all runners of all types. You're at the finish line, especially as the day gets longer. I challenge you to not get emotional.
Hi, Ted. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Susie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm just so excited to have you on board. I'm just delighted to have you as a guest. And I know that many of the people who are going to be watching this on my YouTube channel or listening to the podcast know who Ted Metellus is, but I would like for you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do for the New York Roadrunners.
So I am, Ted Metellus is my name, and I am the Vice President of Events and Technical Director of the TCS NYC Marathon. I've been with Roadrunners for a number of years. I actually worked at Roadrunners back in the early 2000s as an event manager and a contractor, left, and then came back about 2.5 years ago. I am an avid runner, a casual runner, if I may say. With as I'm getting older, my speed isn't as fast as it used to be. But I've ran about 33 half marathons since 2007. My first half marathon was in Philadelphia. That race is always close to my heart. And I've ran 2 full marathons, and surprise, surprise, both of them were in New York. So
very good.
I live here in New York and work here in New York, but love to travel, love to run, and love to stay healthy and active.
Right. And it's funny you say Philadelphia, because Philadelphia Marathon is very close to my heart.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I live in Philly. So Philly is, it's my first half, and will always be a race that I will run as long as I physically can and my schedule permits me.
Right. Very nice. So I wanted my viewers and my listeners to know a little bit more about how and why you became a runner.
Wow. I ran in high school. I went to a small all-boys high school in the Bronx, New York. I ran cross country just to be part of a team sport. I was not a very good cross country runner. I was very slow, almost always last. I learned as I grew older that running, and I'm sure you and your listeners and viewers can attest to this, running is probably more mental than it is physical. And while being young and strong and able to run, I couldn't get over the mental barrier of, staying strong and staying consistent while I was on the course. We had a pretty good team. We had a successful team. We won the Bronx Championship in Van Cortlandt Park way back in the day. And but my running stopped after high school and didn't start again until the early 2000s when I was back in Roadrunners, and just being inspired by the healthy lifestyle of running, being around runners all the time. I used to take my lunch breaks. At the time, the office was literally across the street from Central Park. So I would walk outside the office for lunch and do a small, 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute run. And it would build mileage and get stronger. And then I started running in our races. And then I started realizing that running was a portal to being able to see and engage, see cities engage with people. And I for about 5 years, I worked for a competitor group in the Rock Roll Marathon series. So I was an event manager and logistics operations lead for about 6 or 7 markets throughout the US. And the best way to see a city is running. The best way to get engaged and understand your course and your route was actually getting out there and running. So, yeah, again, I'm a big guy. I run casually. I ran this morning and love it. I love what it does for my mental. I love what it does to my body. I was recently asked if I meditate. And yes, I quiet my mind and get myself centered, but there's nothing better than when you're out there running and you're not listening to any music, you're not listening to anything, and all you hear is your breathing and your footsteps. That's what centers you for sure.
Right. It's so interesting because that's what I feel when I'm running. I say this to people, if I don't run in the morning, if I run in the morning, I'm in a good mood for the rest of the day. If I don't run in the morning because my time doesn't allow me to run and I have to run at night, I am improving my mood, but it's right before I have to go to bed. So that's why I like running in the morning.
The day. Yeah, I fully agree with you. I am a happier, better person when I'm out and I run. I like to run in the mornings, just to, not just to get it over with per se, but to get the day started well, and get myself centered. I mean, obviously with with being home with COVID and living in an apartment in New York City, I don't have a yard, I don't have open space, but I do have the parks. So I don't live very far from a park, and it's about 1.5 miles from my apartment, Fort Tryon Park. And I'll run in there, and it's a completely different space. And I've ran a little over 100 miles every month the last, 4 or 5 months. And it's been what has centered me and kept me sane.
Right, right. That's wonderful. So I know that you are the VP of events, and I am familiar with the events that the New York Runners put together. I've run races in New York City before with other organizations. My first New York Runners race was Joe Kleinerman, the 10K, because I signed for the 9+1.
10K, yes.
For this year, and I PR'd.
Nice.
I PR'd, yes, in that one, and then I PR'd in Fred Lebeau for the half. So my experience with the New York Runners has always been, I've run 3 races, but it's been wonderful because you guys have this nailed down to an art. And I wanted to give you that feedback because I've run with many organizations, and you feel that sense of safety that you don't feel with other, like I am with my people. I am I'm in a space where I know things are under control and nothing is going to happen because I'm just going to run and do my best. And it's just that sense of community.
Community is core. That's exactly what it is. At Roadrunners, it's truly a community, and it's a 365-day-a-year community. Obviously, our goal is to help and inspire people through running. And we do that through a variety of different programs, obviously, and we cater and service all runners of all types. Everything from our, Rising New York Roadrunners youth events to our senior striders programs. We like to keep people happy, healthy, and engaged. And the community of running is truly embraced at Roadrunners. So it's amazing that you felt that coming here, running a handful of races. And I love the fact that you ran the races of our founders of our race, with Coach K, who I actually knew and met and worked with for years prior to his passing. Fred Lebeau, I never had the pleasure of meeting him, but obviously his legacy lives on. I think the only race you needed to say was Ted Corbett, and then you would have had the trifecta.
I ran Al Gordon, the 4-miler.
Yes, Al.
Yeah.
You're all close to me because those are, I had the pleasure of meeting Al Gordon when I was an event manager many years ago, and he started running at a later age and loved the community, engaging with running. So, there are races that are tagged to parts of our members of our running community, Greta Wright's being one of them as well, Greta's Gallop. Those are all amazing races because they're connected to people who were the foundation of New York Roadrunners.
Right. So in terms of, being a technical director of the New York City Marathon, what does that mean, being a technical director? What are you in charge of?
It's funny. Recently, someone asked me if I was in charge of IT and internet connection. And I said, no, not really, but I am involved in connecting for sure. So I am falling in the line of other great technical directors, Alan Seinfeld, Jake LaSala, Peter Chacha, Jim Heim. Those are all technical directors prior to. We support the race director in the event. So we're almost like their chief operating officer, working alongside the event leads that manage, volunteers, transportation, course operations, start line, finish line, post-finish, safety and security. So I'm dialed in with all of those team leads, along with our city partners, our other departments, PR, media, sponsorship, partnership, community, all of those groups. So I am a piece of all of those teams, like a hub to a wheel that connects everybody there. I am able to provide resource and support to the team. I'm also able to provide resource and support to our city officials and partners as well. So it's amazing where I don't necessarily need to know every single thing, but I need to be able to provide support to all of the different teams. You know what I mean? So be a part in helping to find the solutions to any of the challenges that are there. So that's a blown up word of just saying the technical director is the connection between the operations team, the race director, and the community at large.
Right. And I imagine putting together an event like obviously the New York City Marathon, it's just because of the complexity of the city itself. I mean, it's a mass, and the amount of runners and people who get out there. So how many people do you engage? Like how many volunteers, for example?
Wow, it's a great question. I probably should have done my homework a little bit better. So we have,
approximately.
Thousands of volunteers that are engaged with the event spread out through the entire experience. So everything from the volunteers that are welcoming you as you get to your buses, the volunteers at the start line village that's helping give out water and food, obviously the volunteers throughout the course that are providing aid station support and guidance, and the volunteers at the finish line. So there are thousands of volunteers that provide a variety of support there, along with staff and teams of members that are part of the community of the marathon. One of the things that's really fascinating is the marathon, this would have been the 50th year, the 50th running of the race. There are families that are multi-generational that are connected to the marathon, either as a volunteer at an aid station or somebody that has come out as part of their family ritual, and they come out and they cheer on the runners. And then that's their thing that they do. The first Sunday of November, we all come together and we're out there with our coffee in our hand and we're waving to the runners and saying hello and cheering people's names. So the marathon is tremendous, and it's a huge, huge, huge undertaking. And what's beautiful about it is the city embraces it, the community embraces it, and the world obviously comes together.
Right, right. I actually signed up to be a volunteer at the marathon, and I was like bummed that it was canceled. It couldn't be any other way, but I was a marshal at the end, at the finish line, and I was so happy. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to be there and seeing the people at the end. And I chose the latest, you know how there's shifts. So I chose the latest shifts because I thought if I'm gonna be there, I wanna be there for the runners that are slower, like the kind of the back of the packers. So yeah. So yes, go ahead.
I would you to have that opportunity and that experience. And I've been in the events industry for 22 years. I've seen all kinds of things. When you're at the finish line, especially as the day gets longer, I challenge you to not get emotional. I challenge you to feel that magic. That is, it's pretty impressive when you're there and you're seeing people and you can see the emotion that they have, the energy that they have with what they just accomplished. It's a pretty amazing experience.
Right. The marathon went virtual. I actually signed up to do the virtual marathon. So I need to start ramping up my miles to be prepared for that.
When it starts, and obviously you have the dates and information, you have the various tiers that you could participate in. For members of your audience, go to NYRRrunners.org for all the details about it. But yes, come out, come participate. We want to make it the largest virtual marathon in the world, just like we have the largest in-person marathon in the world.
I am sure it will be, and I'm going to do my part to make it happen. I'm going to spread the word and spread the love.
You are part of that community, so please.
I am, yeah, and I feel so grateful for you and your time today, Ted.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. I'm honored by this. I mean, thank you to you. Thank you for Frankie Ruiz and Tim Murphy for recommending this connection. It's all about, again, connecting the running community. There's nothing that is cooler than, either when you're in an airport and you're traveling, or when you're at a train station and you're walking around and you run into a fellow runner, somebody that has their t-shirt on or of a race that you've ran or participated in, and you could strike up a convo with them. So yes, you are part of the thread of that community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ted, for your time. Absolutely. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care.